We're back here for week number 4 of the ANZ's HGC as we start off with the banger of the night, which was Mindfreak up against Crimson. With Mindfreak getting the W, they win 2-1. But if you didn't think that was the highlight of the night, I know a lot of you in chat think that the next game coming up is going to be a bit of a highlight, and for good reasons. Aztech, the challengers, the team that have picked up, I don't want to say scraps, but they've come together to form a super team, which is definitely finding some good results. Consistency is going to be the big thing for these boys. But Xylophone dudes, you can't really not be a fan of these guys just based on the fact that they draft literally anything. We've got Arnas, we've got Alarax, we've got Cho'Guz, you name it. I mean, even Sylvanas, you name it. They've probably played around with it. They've probably tried to make it work. Just drafting or just trying to commentate their draft alone, that in its own right is a spectacle.
It really is, Skibby, and I'm glad we have the privilege of doing so tonight because, as you said, we never know what we're going to get with these guys and their mixed bag over here. But what that also does is, I mean, serious note here, is that it's very, very difficult to counter, similar to how we were speaking about other teams where you just get them on map. It's not so much that. It's like we don't even know what to ban because we don't know what they want to play. A lot of people have just been banning at the show and they're like, sorry, tonight was Sylvanas night. Didn't you get the memo? It's just like, it's very, very interesting to see. And they're like Australia's own, or Australia, New Zealand, sorry. Can't forget the Kiwis.
Don't forget me, man.
I can't forget you, don't worry. But they're our own little mad scientists, aren't they?
They really are. I mean, I feel like every single region has their own mad scientist to a degree, right? There, I mean, I feel like it's the monkeys back in Europe. They just do pretty much whatever they like, and they're like, yeah, it works. So it's always exciting when you have a bit of flavor, a little bit of flavor in the region. It's not the resident sleeper HGC draft like we've seen. And I remember somebody at one stage was like, it's just Hanzo, Greyman, and Chromie, and I was like, that's kind of cool, but I don't know if I've seen Chromie picked that much to try and justify your meme, but hey, I'll roll with the punches. But as we get set up here, Vandy, let's, I suppose, set the stage really for what we have on offer. It's another best of 3. Aztech taking on Xylophone dudes. Aztech are quite comfortable in their slot high above where Xylophone dudes are. But in terms of the map picks and the map bans, Xylophone dudes have banned Sky Temple. They've banned it 3 times already in the season. This will be the 4th time they ban it, so they do not want to sort of fall to macro or just, complete out rotations. They want to be aggressive. They want to force those fights on, say, Battlefield of Eternity. That's where they really start to shine. And Aztec have banned away Braxis, so they don't want to fall to quote-unquote cheese of their own aspect.
That's it. I mean, you give cheese to the team that's playing mad scientist, and you don't want to know what's going to happen on that. So by banning out that map, I think it's a very, very smart decision in itself, but also very interesting. It means that, as you're saying, for Team Xylophone dudes, they really do favor that team fight as opposed to that macro orientation where you just like really breaking up a lot of those team members. So just ready to punch on these guys right here. And we're going back to Volskaya Foundry. So we just did see the Giants, Crimson and Mindfreak fight on that one. It was decided by the narrowest of margin. We thought Mindfreak were able to close that one out if they got a kill. In fact, Crimson managed to stall the game out enough to take that one out from under them. Gotta see, is it going to be just as close? As you said, Aztec do have the advantage heading into this one, but you can't count Xylophone dudes down and out.
You definitely can't. I mean, I mentioned it before. This is definitely a map which caters to what they want to do. It's about them having a centralized location where they can make their weird, wacky drafts work. They can force those fights. And as their memo goes, that's Power Sun. And that's exactly what's happening because I can see a lot of fans in chat right now spamming memes, getting excited and having a good time. And why not? Here we are, week number 4, halfway through the season. It's time to really enjoy yourself. As at the start, it was, it was early days. It was hard to really understand where those power levels were, where their strengths lied, but it's becoming a little bit more apparent. You'd have to say that Aztec are the favorites coming into the series, but with that unpredictability based on that draft you mentioned before, Vandy, Xylophone dudes could sneak a win.
They could, and it would be a huge upset if they did manage to do so. So this is where it really comes down to for teams like Aztec, where they are trying to prove themselves, right? They want to rumble with the best and come out on top. Last phase, we did see a couple of upsets where Crimson were dropping games against teams that we expected them to have a clean win over. You don't want to be put in that position because it just really just questions, okay, what did we do wrong? Like, are we overthinking our drafts? Or is it just coming into that factor where we just don't know what we're preparing for right here? So one might argue it's actually really good to come up against a team like Xylophone dudes because you're really expecting the unexpected.
That you will be indeed. It's always an interesting challenge. And I think the challenge for me, if I'm an Aztec fan, is to sort of see what Aztec do we get today? We've seen Aztec show impeccable drafting up against Mindfreak, but then fall short in terms of execution. We then seen them last week just come in with convincing fashion up against Twisted Vision and say, this is our style, this is how we're going to play, all the stars lined up, and we win a game in 7.5 minutes. Are we going to see that same sort of dominant fashion? Or are we going to see them where they, try to experiment a little bit more, try and play around with a few ideas, and the game may not be as clear-cut as what we've seen in the past?
That's it. It comes down to that consistency that we like to see here from teams. And being a newer team, well, they've been around, but they've had quite a lot of roster swaps and gotten a couple of new players. As you said, perhaps a couple of the scraps here and there from other teams to make that one big super team that they are now. They're still settling into their roster and really just trying to figure out, okay, what are our strategies for each map? What are our comfort picks? How do we really want to just go about this? And that's a huge ask to put of anyone, even for Xylophone dudes.
It is. And straight away, Vandy. Straight away, Vandy. You know, you're going to, I'm sure you wanted to tee up some analysis right there, but no, they won't give you a second. Cho'Gall comes across just like that. Leoric, you had to imagine with the Leoric being that highly prioritized in the batting phase, they are up to no good. There are some shenanigans right there. Blaze, Genji, it's standard. That's what you would expect. But the Cho'Gall, it always is there.
Oh, I mean, what's the chat saying? XD activated? That is XD activated right there. I don't know how much more activated you can get. Activated almonds, forget about it. Activated Cho'Gall, that's where we're at.
In the first 1-2 rotation as well, like they're not even waiting.
Exactly.
Like, you can draft every counter you want. We feel confident, team.
Except Leoric. We have to make sure we get
except Leoric. Obviously, the Skeleton Ghost Man, he's gone, but you can have Tychus, Karazim. It's okay.
Tychus, Karazim, Greymane. Don't worry, bring it. We're ready. We saw, when we see the Cho'Gall, the only other team to really go drafts a little bit this crazy, this far out of whack was Team Downfall right there. And we saw them really utilize the Cho'Gall quite well. Yes, it was a little bit cheesy, but it got results. We saw them bring it on Volsky, Foundry being one of the maps, and also Towers of Doom being the other. With varying rates of success on Towers of Doom, but Volsky, it was pretty darn good.
Good points you raised there, Vandy. Good points indeed. Phoenix and Johanna. So pretty much going to see a copy-paste, if anything, from the previous series between Mindfreak and Crimson, where it's point control, get some CC, get some slows, and get some form of peel for the Phoenix and allow him to spew fire from afar. But if we know anything about versing a Cho'Gall, it's that you need to get a strong early game composition. You need to get the game underway, acquire a level lead here, a level lead there, and really try and push the envelope. Because if you start hit level 13, 16 and onwards, things get very scary to a point where Cho'Gall is like, I have literally XD activated and I can single-handedly carry this game.
You know how Xylophone dudes, their like logo is like that pumping fist with the xylophone in the background? That's what he becomes.
So
is
good.
That giant muscly arm. Don't even need the protector, Skimmy. But jokes aside, you also need that strong wave click because that's where Cho'Gall will really get you at already. So it is nice to see Aztech are already considering that. Yes, they're trying to draft something a little bit more meta, but each of these heroes here, they do have a good range of wave clear. The Blaze, the Phoenix, and Johanna so far. Yeah. So they have strong laners in themselves, and that really does help when you are up against that Cho'Gall. But you also do want, as you said, early game potential, because that's where you can get the Cho'Gall. Remember, he counts as 2 heroes right there. So that's 2 members that are going to be committed in one lane that you know for sure. You can then capitalize on this by picking out rotations or forcing fights in other areas of the map.
I mean, that's a big reason they've banned away the Oriole, because the crown target of a Cho'Gall is, without a doubt, the best synergy in the game. So denying that is a huge power spike. They're going to have to opt for a different version in that, maybe go for the Rhaegar with a double chain heal bounce. But on the side of how do we try and shut down that early game, what was going through Xylophone Dude's mind with the Hanzo? We saw in the previous series just how imperative it was to gain a solid foundation when it came to those items. I'm talking turrets, I'm talking healing emitters. So denying that away is a fantastic form of just, we want your early game to be a little bit shaky just to give us enough breathing room. And the mouthfeel, I mean, that's a way of saying you can't have this if we do.
They're just taking their own counters as well, Skimmy. Oh dear, this game. I'm ready for it to just start. Just forget about the draft phase. Let's just get straight into it.
How could I forget though, Vandy? I forgot the other best one. It was the Alexstrasza, right? The Circle of Life build. Percentage, boom, you're just instantly topped up. And it's absolutely mammoth. So, I mean, Rhaegar back in the day, I think it was like Rhaegar and Lily were the go-to because like a healing cups and the Rhaegar chain heal would bounce twice based on the fact that it is 2 heroes in one.
Yeah,
but
and then just double the healing.
She's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And in a weird sense, it is a little bit like Infernal Shrine, so you're holding that point.
You're holding that point, and that's why Alexstrasza can come into a map like this and not really struggle as much, because you know where the fights are going to be breaking out, so they're going to be in lane or off on those objectives right there, which have narrow chokes. But the Malthael, that's a bit of an interesting one. I think that's more like a denial, as we said. It gives him strong wave clear and a strong solo. So if the Cho'Gall does want to rotate between mid and bot, they can do so. But also Malthael, that percentile base damage that he does have, the last rites especially, in terms of finishing off that Cho'Gall, can be quite devastating. But here's finally that percentile base shred coming out. The Tychus and Karazim. These will be your Cho'Gall killers.
Well, you're going to have to imagine, we said at the very start of the draft that you had to imagine these would come across at some stage. And there's always a point to be made as to, based on how predictable it is there something that the opposition had prepared in mind for it? Maybe a Medivh, and just run Cho'Gall as a all-round, he is our tank, our bruiser, our mage. Are there any kind of weird interactions like that? I don't think we'll see it here, quite honestly. But it is Xylophone dude, so I'm prepared to be amazed if anything else. And this is Alexstrasza actually making her competitive debut this phase in the ANZ HGC. She hasn't even played a single time, as Malfurion, Stukov, and Decker Kane definitely steal the limelight in that regard. So very excited to see, especially on a point control map like this, just how much value she can get when there is a raging Cho'Gall there to back her up.
And with that percentile-based healing as well, just keeping them in the fights for longer, Skimmy. But it does also make them a target right there. You do see that circle going out, and there's a beacon for we're going to be positioning here. Come and get us. Yrel being the last member right here, so a very melee-heavy composition, except for that Gall, really. So when you do have that one member that's going to be picked on, it's going to be all members collapse. You have to. It's going to be do or die, as you said. They're all in.
I think another point I forgot to mention, actually, Vandy, a bit more, I suppose, backstory towards why Malthael got picked. If Aztech, we've been considering it for a second, well, level 7 has the ability just to reduce all healing. And that would just completely take Alexstrasza off the ball and be like, you actually can't do anything, right? So I think that's actually, if that was the idea behind it, a very smart turn of play. And if they can have a strong enough early game and not fall too far behind, definitely will allow them to hit that mid-game stage and be like, all right, time's up. It's time for us to win.
Time for us to win. I wish it was that easy.
I mean, it is. When you got Cho'Gall, you're like, GG, go next.
I'm just pressing my button, face rolling. It's all good right here. Serially on that Malthael as well, we do know, we're talking about the backstory of this Malthael because there's so much to share, but this is one of his go-to heroes. Serially on this Malthael, they've got great history together. It's, I think, one of his best win rate heroes in terms of phase 1. And it didn't always suit the composition that they were trying to do. It didn't always suit the map, but this is a comfort pick through and through.
Yeah, if it's not Malthael, it's going to be that regular roster guy who likes to bust out weird and wacky things. But we're into it. It's game number 1 here in this best-of-3 series between both of these teams. Aztech taking on Xylophone dudes. Game number 1 on Volskaya Foundry, brought to you by McDonald's Australia. Starting off on the left-hand side, it's Aztech. Shrek will be playing Karazim, Superfish on Blaze, Azog on Johanna, Altivian with the Tychus, and Douse on Phoenix.
And with the Xylophone dudes, the activated Xylophone dudes, we've got Tommy playing Yrel, Flaze on Cho, Serially playing Malthael, Bouncy on Gull, and Sailor playing Alexstrasza.
4, 3, 2.
I love their Cho'Gall name. It's Funky.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's always nice to see some interesting names, some creative styles. We've seen some interesting ones in ANZ.
Oh, yeah, we've seen some interesting ones, that's for sure. But Funky, at least it's PG.
Keep it PG. Keep it Disney. Let's all have a good time and be the princesses that we were meant to be. As a smash to the face, greets Tommy saying, look, you may be playing Yrel, but I'm not afraid to go toe-to-toe with you. And, Jibian on the Tychus has gone for dash at level 1, so he's gone for the quests, so looking to power himself up. What does that mean? When the quest is complete, extra range on that dash, as well as movement speed, so it's always quite nice to have that quality of life.
It is pretty nice. They're ready to heal. You can see the work there's time to do. Sailor on that one. It's just making sure that they keep themselves topped up as they go from lane to lane, and just that wave clear that Cho'Gall has, that early game potential that you already spoke about, Skimmy.
So they have gone for the Circle of Life, so looking to also, much the same as Tychus, mirror him and just bounce between lanes and get those globes and unlock that mid to late game power spike. But instantly, just like that, they go, no, we're going to go for a 1-minute support camp, and why not? Does aid Alexstrasza. It caters to what she's doing. Stack up in a centralized location, hold that point, and there is an infinite amount of healing at your disposal. So a strong little opening here for the boys in red. And it's all going to come down to positioning and posturing to find that value.
be too sad with that. We already saw in that last series between Mindfreak and Crimson how long they both tried to, I guess, push at each other to see if they could get that support camp quite safely. Already that power of Cho'Gath just means that you have so much zone potential as well, but also the clear. Sarah Lee being bullied out of lane as the invade comes across from Aztech here in that bottom lane.
It's a good play by them. It's a heads up one of that as well to say, look, you know, you may have gone for the early play, but we need to match that or just do something in another aspect of the map to try and even out those scales. So having a turret is always nice, and having two is even better. And we talked about the item control in series number 1. That is definitely not going to change right here, but having 2 turrets available just like that to start off with gives you the early game power that you need to ideally get some kills and acquire that 1 to 2 level advantage. Otherwise, yeah, Cho'Gath is going to scale, and you've got to be scared.
It's also, as you said, Skimmy, if they don't get the support camp, what other value can they find? They already read the rotation, saw that they were nowhere near, so it was a very, very safe invade. Get in, get out kind of affair. With that control point now, control point A in the middle of the map will be coming online in just about 20 seconds or less. And this is where the fight will really happen. And with that Cho'Gath as well, it's a staying power that he has. We often talk about boss control. Cho'Gath's almost like a boss in itself, but this kill right here will give them the breathing room that they need.
That they do a fantastic time on that kill there. Control point A will be spawning in 10 seconds, so certainly we'll be back in time. Not the end of the world. But definitely getting a first blood open on your account like that is always nice to start off this game with. Level 4 for Tommy. He actually has gone for the Eggs of Light, so looking to jump in deep with that Avenging Wrath and provide armor to nearby members. This should actually have a profound effect on assisting that Cho'Gath. It's the adaptation we saw from Series 1 where they went for the heal instead, so I like this. It's usually my preferred choice as well.
Especially if you know that you're going to be fighting, or you've got that melee heavy composition, like we can see coming out now from XD or Xylophone dudes. It'll definitely help, because you also do have the Malthael that can benefit from that.
Exactly, Bandy. A great point to bring up here as Aztec start off this first shrine strong. They have level 7 just now, and they have 50% to this, and counting.
That's not really deterring Xylophone dudes, though. They stomp straight onto the point, already calling back all members of Aztec.
They do. They take a lot of damage there as the abundance does come across. But I mean, we talk about those power spikes. Why are those power spikes? Why do I talk about this being so influential? Well, you chuck out your old rune bomb, and it can then silence. Not only is that frustrating to go up against, but then his Surging Fist, he has Unstoppable, so it's like a permanent cleanse. You can't ignore it, as Tommy definitely does ignore things. He jumps in deep, he pays the price. They pop down the Healing Beacon, and they pop Dragon Queen, and that's a lot of stake to say, look, you may be gone, but we can get rid of the rest of you at least.
Dragon Queen coming up very big there to keep them all topped up, but also provide some extra damage in lane. But you can already see when they get clumped up like that, those are perfect Cho'Gath conditions, if you will. So it's very, very easy for them to get that damage. The 99% has been acquired right there by Aztec. They only need to get 1 kill, say, to bully off members of XD.
Andy, we are going to see the Diddy Kong bouncing style of Yrel this time around.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Always able to dish out some armor to those melee members that you were mentioning beforehand. 99% here for Aztec, as they do decide to peel away, pick up themselves their own biotic emitter for some of that point to control. Turret goes down on the flank, a massive propulsion into 2 right there. Tommy also taking a fair chunk of damage. He's going to be forced to go down. And that should be all it says for the Xylophone dude's chances of picking up this first protector. There it is. 2 items had to be consumed, but well worth when you've achieved this 1 level lead that you so desperately needed to versus Cho'Gath with.
So with Tommy as well, you can already see he is absolutely super tanky, but when you have those tank bosses, especially that Tychus right there, just sitting there and just making almost like mincemeat out of you right there. So he's just sitting, he's diving in, but the armor is not even doing anything right there. 10 is on the horizon as well for Aztec. And they'll be getting it with this protector pushing in that top lane. They're setting themselves up for that next phase.
So standard transition here as you clear out mid and go to top, getting those 4 towers. Gives you level 10. And now that protector is down to about 20%, so expending the last stretch of its health pool to get some permanent damage on towards that fort. But level 10 is there, and Shrek is a monster on Karazim, so keep an eye on what he can do with this hero. 7-sided strike is locked in place. So if that Condemn comes across with a Blessed Shield, locks somebody in place, I tell you what, Vandy, someone is going to die.
Quite effectively, yes, they will. So as you said, keep your eyes peeled for that one. 10 is still on the horizon for Xylophone dudes. They just have to weather this out a little bit longer. For Aztech, knowing this, they're really just capitalizing on the small advantage, a slight window to really just bully them further.
And that bullying really tells a tale when you look at the quests of both Tychus and Alexstrasza. Altivian's got 22 of the 25 globes he needs to unlock that extra mobility, whereas Alexstrasza has 18 of the 25 she needs to be able to provide extra sustain. So falling down just by a few, but you'd have to expect this based on the strength that they aren't the strongest in the early game. So they're definitely keeping up pretty well.
Yeah, they need to just be able to keep up because mid to late is really where they start to shine, as you already said. Cho'Gall, he just comes online, he gets the silence, and then, as I said, the damage just also ramps up completely. But you can't fall too far behind. Yes, we know that it's all about the late game, but Aztech, they'll be making sure, if they can, they're never going to let you see the late game. They want to make sure that with this next objective, they can push through that top lane and get some more pressure happening on that map.
Adaptation at level 10 is actually really exciting to see for Alexstrasza. She's gone for Lifebind as opposed to the usual Cleansing Flame, so she's not going to have any way of protecting herself if she does get collapsed upon. But what that does mean is that's far more reliable sustain for a man like this who just gets absolutely bodied. Blast Shield comes there. That's the Lifebinder we were talking about. And I tell you, I mean, like, you say one thing and it happens, Vandy. This is the caster's curse happening once again.
It's like almost like, you know, when you're like, this is how it happens. All right, here's Exhibit A. But Tommy, showing Exhibit A, he manages to pop the shield, absorbs it all. The salvo comes across, but nobody's dead just yet.
Shadowbolt Volley is doing a lot of work from the back line, but it's going to try and ensure that 3 members get the armor. 25 armor in and out, pop it out, make something happen. XD do pick up that Biotech mid and it gives them a lot of sustain. They fight on top of it. They have Dragon Queen as well. That's so much sustain. You just cannot contest it. They force their fight into the dream situation really for Xylophone dudes. And they come ahead with 2 kills to 1.
They do manage to get Sarah Lee for their efforts, but it didn't even matter. The bunker was there to cleanse the last rites. In this replay, you can see Sarah Lee gets popped there, but then the Dragon Queen comes online, and just that return damage. See Azog just dropping so low, and they continue the chase right there. They have sustained for days. So just really, when that Dragon Queen comes online, it's almost that power spike like Odin. That's really the ideal time to try and disengage if possible, and wait it out. Because that's when Alexstrasza is at her strongest.
Absolutely, and why she is such a strong power house on maps like this, which have those sort of pre-programmed situations for when you need that cooldown to be available. Still though, a healthy 1-level lead, although that margin is starting to shrink. A lot of that is down to the fact of how many structures Aztec were able to achieve with that very first protector. But now a second chance to acquire it. 20% is how Xylophone dudes start things off with here. But Tommy Onurel was doing a fantastic job of soaking those lanes, double soaking bot and mid to get 13, and now he rotates up, looking for a fight.
He also will be waiting for that Ardent Defender to come online. You could already see how crucial it was in saving his life when he's just jumping in deep like that to get the second life, the second win, because all that damage gets converted right back into health.
Absolutely, Vandy, a fantastic point, and it really allows you just to jump in recklessly, if anything, and say, look, come at me. I will eat up all of those and do damage with it. Shadowbolt Volley is there, but a lot of cooldowns have been burnt in towards the Cho'Gall, who does indeed fall down. A huge opportunity for Aztec to work within. And now they can just say, look, this is going to be our second protector. That 1-level lead you were talking about before, Skibby, it's only going to grow, not shrink. It's like, how big is your fish?
It's just growing, growing, growing. And a lot of what went wrong there was that the Lifebinder was completely interrupted. So you could see it's still on cooldown. So no heal coming across right there for Cho'Gall. Just leaving him as sitting dark, essentially for the percentile-based shred to come across.
Can they find more, though? That is the question. 7-sided is available. So is Odin. So is Salvo. So is everything, pretty much. And they may use a fair bit of it as Sailor uses the Lifebinder, says, Tommy, you get out, but I will pay the price. And another pick like that. Caught out in the wrong place at the wrong time in the wrong neighborhood.
And they don't have their healer, so this pretty much means that they cannot really contest this next control point B, this phase right here. They're going to have to weather the Tree Glove Protector coming their way. And that was just due to because you often think that you're going to be quite safe, relatively safe under your fort. But when you have that mini wave coming in, they spy one member. You got the dive, or when you've got heavy engagers like the Blaze or the Johanna, they're going to make sure that if they see that, they will make the play target you there. They have all the members. You're not going to be supported by that fort at all when push comes to shove.
Not at all, Vandy. Not at all. And this Protector is going to find some value. Finishing off the full. Now working towards a keep, and they mean business right here. They hit 16. That's the big power spike. A massive talent tier for multiple heroes. And they have the Odin saying this is going to be a keep. This is going to be us looking to try and punish you hard. And they need this. They so desperately need this before Cho'Gath starts to scale. Using that constant macro pressure, that window to always come back from. And it is going to fall on down.
So that gives them all that pressure in that top lane right there. The True Glove Protector still had about 30% life. So you can see if they can just whittle down at least the front wall in the middle lane right here before it then expires.
No, it will. 7 kills to 3. But the kills haven't really been the biggest telltale of this map. It has always been about structures. Mid lane completely decimated. Top lane gone. Now let's finalize and finish off the bottom point, because point C will be up. And that is conveniently in this spot right here. So if we can win that, we can go directly towards a keep, as opposed to directly towards a fort.
And that makes a huge difference right there. Even that top lane is completely exposed. So already there's a win path right there. If they get enough kills, they can just take that protector straight through the top lane, end the game, if you will, not even going for the keep. So go for the core. It is, I guess, sad days now on the side of Xylophone dudes. They need to make sure that they can get 16 and just really pull it back. They still have that late game potential. It just takes that one fight to once again just turn the ball into their favor.
That's the 16. So the permanent unstoppable. You just hold that as the Cho player and you let your teammate do the rest. And you have the Deafening Blast as well from Gale. So this is the massive power play, power spike, if anything, for the Cho'Gath to start operating within. So when it comes to control point C very shortly down in the bottom lane, this is going to definitely need to find value, or I feel as if the Xylophone dudes squad, their comp just starts to not unscale, because obviously Cho'Gath always gets better, but just loses its oomph.
It does, and especially because you spoke about the structural advantage that Aztech already set themselves up for. This is also against you right here. You have the catapult pressure in that top lane. Just takes that one wrong fight for Aztech to say, okay, cool, we can end the game now.
They start off with the hammer, and they swing in with the Cho, looking to try and make something happen. It's going to Lifebinder very early on. Not going to use that 7-sided strike just yet. Bless Shield will it come across. So many members of Xylophone dudes locked in place, fighting on top of a beacon. That's healing that they so desperately need. Ardent Defender does find some value as well. Dragon Queen in that backline, hopping, healing, doing whatever it can. 7-sided strike, though, does get split across multiple members as the bunker is used to disengage with. A 2-level lead here for Aztech. Every ultimate except for the Odin. Well, now the Odin's expired. Now it shows Odin, but every ultimate was used.
Sorry, excuse me.
Old man yarn. It's having an effect on me.
That's all right. Tommy ready to go in again. Reminder that he doesn't have the Ardent Defender ready to go this time.
Quite honestly, I feel without those ultimates, Xylophone dudes actually have the best chance now.
They do, especially because Lifebinder is up first in terms of their cooldown right there. Next will be Bless Shield. So with these two up right there, I think it's all about the Lifebinder because Cho now can play a little bit more ham, and then you've always got the Lifebinder ready to top them up.
Tommy jumping, diving deep. He's just going to fall on down. The Lifebinder goes across just a little bit too late. Teller zoned out from the back line, and what looks so good comes out so damn wrong. Shadowbolt Valley used as a disengage mechanic, but the salvo coming across as well. Pot shots at this stage here, not really going to do too much as they can top members up quite healthy. 7-sided is there, and a Searching Fist to get out of there. As Lifebinder this time will connect. Where are we in terms of power spikes for a lot of these heroes? Well, Tychus has gone for In the Rhythm, so looking to get extra duration on that minigun. Up to 129 stacks, so that is starting to pack a punch in terms of how long it lasts, but between Cho and Gale, 39 stacks on bombs away, so it's scaling. Not as strong as it usually can be, but it's definitely starting to climb up that ladder. And they need to find something now, Vandy, because like 20 is looming. Ultimates are available. People are respawning. It's time to make your Hail Mary attempt.
Yeah, it's time to make the plays right there. And like you said, I felt like Xylophone dudes, they had the fight in their advantage right there. But Tommy, as I said, without that Ardent Defender, you can't play as ham as you normally do. That armorit's not going to do anything. There's percentile-based shred that you need to contend with. You can't just sit in there for days. You just need to be really, really mindful of it. It also then meant that Sailor, trying to save him, the Lifebinder went on cooldown and they lost 2 members right there. That's what really went wrong in that last fight. So just need to just play it a little bit more slow, a little bit more carefully.
They do. 93% is where Aztech get to as they just hit level 20. And he's gone for transgression at level 20, Karazim. That's 4 extra strikes when he pops at 7-sided. So really looking to say, Cho'Gall, run or not, I'm going to do work. Even if your member comes in to try and soak up some of that damage, messages will be delivered. That's the silence from the Cho'Gall bomb, but the bunker once again is good. Yrel falls down in the chaos. It's been a rough game for Tommy this time around. That's the double kill as Last Rites tries to collapse and get a kill on towards Shrek, but he's not going to be deterred by that one whatsoever. Doesn't even have to use the 7-sided. And just like that, Vandy, that's the protector. They can steamroll through this bottom lane. I doubt they're going to want to use that rotation because it's 30 seconds. But they're looking to do it.
They want to use that rotation. It's just going to slow them down too much, especially with the Cho'Gall they feel. So they've stomped towards that middle lane right there. Or no, it looks like they even just want to go in through the top lane and just push out the catapults even more. Alright, so looking to just end right here.
They are going to go for that attempt. I like it. But it does mean now that 5 members are available for Xylophone dudes to make a Hail Mary play, but quite honestly, Van, it doesn't really matter because that core is falling down so quickly. 25%, a Dragon Queen and everything thrown at it is not going to be enough, and just like that, Aztec say GG.
GG, well played. Right there, Skimmy, and we said that they need to slow it down, but when we told them to slow it down, it was already too late. The 20 had been acquired, that last team fight right there would just really seal the deal. And Tommy, he died once again. I know I say it so much, but the Ardent Defender, use it, Tommy. You had it this time. You didn't use it. The salvo would have been a perfect time. You had that guaranteed incoming damage. Could have been healed up, stayed alive a little bit longer, but you can already see just the counters already. Just the Tychus as well as the Karazim, they were just doing massive work right there. To not only the Cho'Gall, but also to the Malthael as well as the Yrel.
Yeah, so Yrel and Malthael both falling down 4 times. The biggest enemies really for Aztec as they went into those engagements. And you can see what the idea was behind it. Jump into the front line, try and cause a bit of chaos, allow Cho'Gall some breathing room to then collapse upon himself. Didn't always work out that way. A little bit too squishy, a little bit too easy to dismiss. And Aztec quite happy there with a standard comp going up against the flexing powers that we know and love about Xylophone dudes. They'll be looking to go back to that drawing board and draft up something weird, wild, and wacky from that lab of theirs. So we'll see you for game number 2 in 3 minutes' time.